Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm Morris Merrill, the author of Enough is Enough, and also the host of Straight Talk in Room 503. Thank you again for joining us this week. We trust that you will stay with us as we begin to continue to discuss the importance of public education and where we need to be and what we need to do. Thank you very much again. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you back to the second part of Straight Talk in Room 503. I normally start out by discussing issues in my hometown, and then I eventually roll on over to your hometown because of the same things that are going on in my home county are the same thing that's going on in your county. If you just give it some thought, you'll find out that I'm telling you the truth. Let me again preface what I'm about to say and let you know that this is the class of Straight Talk. I'm not here to make friends. I let go too many friends I didn't need. I'm not here to have an affair with you. I'm married and I don't need to have any affairs. I'm not here to court you or date you with my things that make you feel good. Don't say that, Mr. Merriweather. You may step on someone's toes. If I stepped on your toes, I apologize early. But I'm about to talk about some straightforward things that are happening in my hometown, and I'm going to relate them to your hometown. If you'll just stay with me this session. So if you feel like that you're not going to be able to take what is said in this class of Straight Talk, then I'll see you next week when maybe I'll tone it down a little bit. But today is not the day to tone it down. Today is the day to tone it up. In my hometown, as well as in your hometown. So when I say my hometown, you say your hometown. We have too many buildings, schools that has been built, and it's been built on lies and promises that is now the rooster is crowing and we don't like it. My whole weekend and week, I've been bombarded with emails and texts about save this school, save that school. My question is, I wonder where all of these people was at the time that I started this broadcast, wrote my book, which was 7 years ago, and started to telling you that the tidal wave was coming and that it was going to wipe everything in its past out. We have 27 buildings in my hometown. They was built by some of the so-called smart people of my city and county. They are people that you see out and you say, good morning, Mr. So-and-so. Good morning, Mayor so-and-so. Good morning, County Commissioner so-and-so. Good morning, School Board Member so-and-so. Those people had a hidden agenda. And so when I see them, you said, you don't speak to them, Mr. Earl? Sure I do. But I'm not butt kissing. That's one thing that no one can tell you that Merriweather do. I am allergic to butt kissers. But we have kissed too many butt, listened to too many people who made promises, and now our poor kids are the benefactors of those things that have been coming down the pipe all along. Let me read some of this. I made quite a bit of notes for you this week. I wrote this here. Why is it that the smart people, our shakers and makers and movers of this city, didn't see this problem coming when we be stuck with these buildings? 5,000 students in my hometown has disappeared from public education and gone on to other counties and private schools. Where was the so-called leaders? You mean to tell me you didn't see your neighbor put her house up for sale? Your neighbor didn't tell you that they was leaving the neighborhood so that they would have to go to school with certain students? Did you miss that? But yet you continue to draw those enormous salaries paid for by the average Joe Blow, as well as some of your friends. Now, we overbuilt. That's what we did in my hometown. If you would look in your hometown, the same thing is happening. We got more private schools being built across this country than at any time in history. So it's no need of saying, well, Mr. Merriweather is talking about his hometown of Madison. I'm talking about your hometown. Fayetteville, Summersville, Davisville, Cookeville. I don't know. The strange thing is that we cannot find enough money to support public education, but we can always find fund to hire some firm to come in and do a study, do some research, find out what we need. Why are we paying so much money? Why are you going to work every morning when it's dark, when it's cold, when it's rain, when it's damp? When we know having our children stand out on the bus stop when it's cold and things, knowing that the powers to be, the good old boys, are sitting up in the comfort of an elaborate private school, riding on a very comfortable bus. And I see students every day. I used to ask them, why are you running to the bus? Well, we don't know, Miss Mel. We won't have no seats. We'll have to stand up. The school buses don't have seat belts as it is. Can you imagine how many lives are in jeopardy every day? And some of those kids are your child. Well, you don't know because you're watching the world turn. General Hospital, scandal. It's a scandal what's going on in public education, ladies and gentlemen. Now, we can find money to pay for research and studies to be done to tell us what's wrong with our school system, but we can't find money to buy resources for the student. Well, just this morning, one of our elite school board members stated this morning on one of the talk shows, we just going to have to wait until the results are in, and once they come in, we're just going to have to accept it whether we like it or not. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what's got us in the shape we're in now. Accepting those mistakes because it's not right. You have got to stop that stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, who did we pay to man the shops? They was called principals, teachers, superintendents, board members, county commissioners, mayors, executives. They was paid to make sure that our kids get the quality education and the funds was there. But now election year is over. They have settled in and gone on about to doing their business. Ladies and gentlemen, in my hometown and in your hometown, they call this zoning. Zoning was where we would take a group of students and then we would bus them over to another area. Ladies and gentlemen, so we did the right thing. We shouldn't have had to bus students. If we had students who was attending the school that was closest to them, and those schools was eagerly funded, and the effective teacher was placing them as well as in the elite schools, then we wouldn't have had to bus. Now they got so many buses around there, they're running over each other. And now we get into the point where it says we got to cut back on the busing. Ladies and gentlemen, in my hometown, there was a high school that 2 streets over, students could not attend those schools, which was at that time white. And they lived 2 streets over. They would bus those poor black kids all the way out into areas that they should not have been in, just to make sure that certain kids was more comfortable. Now, when we talk about confidence, I was on a radio show this past weekend, first of last week, and the interviewer had never heard of what's called white flight. White flight is simply where white students does not want to attend school with African American students, so they would take flight. He also heard me say, talk about medical transfers. He said, I never heard of that, Mr. Meriwether. Well, medical transfer, and it happened in your hometown too, because a lot of the hometown, once we had our court order of a mandated integration, it was all over the country. So it happened in your hometown. Quit talking. It happened over your hometown too. Now, medical transfer was where, white parents would take their child to the doctor. Now, remind you that these doctors was not African Americans. Everything is not African Americans. They was of the white race. Dr. So-and-so. This is Todd. If Todd go to school with those kids, he's going to lose his mind. And the doctor would make up a transfer, a medical reason, say he doesn't need to because he'll have psychological problems. How can you determine someone's going to have something before they have it? But Those are some of the finest doctors, according to certain people. Lived in the big house, the white picket fence, and 2 kids and a poodle. They was writing those referrals left and right. They was making a lot of money when parents would come in. Parents was in happiness because they was getting a transfer while they didn't have to go to school with those students. That's the word you need to remember. Those students. Now, we got all of this problem going on, school closing, because we don't have enough students to run those schools adequately. Now we're going to have to close some schools. This week in my hometown, I believe it's Tuesday, there's going to be the biggest outcry. They had to change the school board room so they can accommodate the crowd. Where have these people been all of this time? We hadn't had to go and have a larger room for the school board meeting, but they's coming with signs, they picketing, do the right thing. Why haven't you told your superintendents, your county elected officials and city officials, why haven't you held them accountable and asked them to do the right thing before now? Those kids in private schools, ladies and gentlemen, they're not coming back. We're going to close even more schools. If we're closing 4 this year, I guess we'll close 2 more every year till we don't have public schools in my hometown and your hometown. Now, we have never progressed if we will never progress if we accept things as they are. Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin to close this session out. I am just upset that so many people have waited until all of the things that have turned out so bad for public education has happened. And we still got people that are quiet. We do not have a movement where we're asking about save my building, save this elementary school, save this high school. How about the children? The children are the most important. Why are we not saying let's save our children? Let's put effective teachers back into the classroom. Let's reward those teachers that worked hard every day. Let's get rid of those lazy, no good for nothing teachers that we have. Let's save those principals who are leading this at school and making sure that every child gets the quality education in their school. And that Miss Jones, who doesn't want to teach, that she has to go home and she don't want to teach. Why don't we reward those teachers and those principals? Why are so many educators still outside the jail? Ladies and gentlemen, it's misappropriation of funds by county officials, by teachers, by principals, by superintendent, and nobody's going to jail. Only thing we're doing is raising their salary and going to work early in the morning to make sure that we pay for something that we're never going to receive. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that's ridiculous. The name of the program, as we conclude, is Vision 2020. My question is, this organization is proposing what needs to be done in our school system, and they call it a 2020 vision. Every parent should have a 2020 vision when your child was born. The moment the doctor brought your child in and you knew that you was blessed, you should have then prayed to God to help your child, got up off your knees and made sure that your child, from the day that he walked into preschool or first grade or Head Start program, that he got the best education. You should have had 2020 vision. But now all of it is coming out of your mouth and your eyes are closed. It doesn't make any sense. If you don't have 2020 vision for your child education, then you're blind. Ladies and gentlemen, I must bring this to a close. The clock on the wall says it's time to close this class. I have enjoyed coming to you each week. But ladies and gentlemen, I don't hear from you. I don't see you out there. I just see that when they talk about what school's going to be closed, picket signs go up. People start wearing the colors of the school. Everything start happening then. Ladies and gentlemen, the power to be has already made the decision. Yes, I'll be attending the school meeting this coming week. But them board members have already made a decision. And all the organizing and what have you now is a little bit late. We should have questioned these people when we elected them. We should have, when they was appointed, those that appointed, we should have asked why. What do you bring to the table? Do you care about my child? They even asked the organization who we paid money to tell us which direction to go in. What is your data to prove that this is effective? Where have you had this before and it was effective? And guess what the chairman of the organization said? There is no data. That was a slap in the face. That means them elected officials who took your tax dollars and paid an organization to tell you which school they were going to close to make it comfortable for certain people. I fought you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm doing my part each week. I can pray all I want to and come to you every week. But if you're still sitting on your rusty dusters talking about, I don't know what's going on, then you are blind. You do not have 20/20 vision. Ladies and gentlemen, without a vision, you'll perish. I envision things getting better. What is your vision? I am Morris Merrill, your host of Straight Talking Room 503. Again, I've come to you to tell you we're in trouble. Please get up and do something about it. Ladies and gentlemen, till next week, if you haven't had a chance to buy a copy of my book, go to www.morrismerriweather.com. Read the book, Enough is Enough. I am saying to you again and again, enough is enough. Thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you next week.